Khamzat Chimaev dominated Dricus Du Plessis in the main event of UFC 319 to capture the middleweight title. See what fighters thought of his performance in the latest edition of MMA Pros React.
As an MMA fan, I thought it was boring as shit. Because usually, you want to see violence and shit, someone get fucked up. But, as a technician, I understand what he did. It was very fucking technical, and he did a great job. That's the reality of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with that being said, I still would still like to take my chances against the guy, respectfully. Khamzat did a really good job at shutting everything down. He made it look very easy, but at the same time, it just showed that DDP is awkward and he's a dog, but also at the same time, he uses a lot of strength to get out of it. That's what I noticed that fight. He was trying to muscle everything, and with a high level wrestler, that's never gonna happen. You're not gonna out muscle a wrestler. It's about position and technique, you know what I mean? With that being said, I would love to fight Khamzat because I think I have what it takes. I mean, to beat him, I'm the most probably well-rounded in the division right now. I think between me and Cal, I think either one of those fights, I would love to see it against him. I thought that DDP would have some moments, but I mean, wow, he shut everything down. He did everything right, you know what I mean? Khamzat and his team did a great job at just making it look easy, and he's healthy, so I'm sure he'll be ready for whenever he's ready.
Yeah.
Sooner than later, obviously, right? Because he took no damage until DDP was on the feet and cracked him a few times. But I was curious to see how it'd play out, and then I was surprised. But I learned a lot of that fight from both guys. Honestly, I don't follow fighting enough to watch them and know everything about them.
Mm-hmm.
But my team does all their homework, so I'm not too worried about it.
It's crazy. I kind of thought that was going to happen, and then the closer it got to the fight, I was kind of leaning toward DDP. I was thinking, man, he's got to catch him with a punch. Figured Khamzat would do that for at least 2 rounds. But, man, to do that for 25 minutes with one of the best guys in the world, it's pretty impressive. It's not the prettiest, but, again, it's not a fashion show. It's an MMA fight, and you can't blame Khamzat for doing his game plan. It's, at some point you got to blame the guy that's on bottom and the guy that's getting worked over. So, I don't know who's going to beat him. It was pretty impressive. I've never seen anything like that in all my years in the UFC.
Yeah, I think a lot of people just don't realize, because when you get to the very top, you can't really do that anymore. You grapple guys and just maul them and wet blanket them, and because everybody's just so good. But just the fact that he was able to do that to, if he would have done that to anybody else on the undercard, people would be booing. Or everybody would be giving him flack. But because he did it to the champion, completely shut him out, that's its own little feather in its own cap, And of course, everyone's spoiled, main events have been coming, strikers and knockouts and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, he probably saw what happened with Pico right before him. And he's like, you know what, I'm getting the job done, and didn't take any risks, any damage. And he's the world champ, he woke up today and he's in a lot better position than he would, if he would have made a mistake or anything like that. So he fought to win. He didn't care about the crowd, and you got to respect that as well.
I talked to Sean, and Sean obviously fought DDP twice, and then he's trained with Khamzat. So I kind of Sean was leaning DDP. I was thinking maybe DDP, but that fight too. That fight was I think 80% Khamzat's just much better grappling, and 20% of DDP kind of mitigating getting finished. I think that's what, the crucifix, no, but a lot of times when he's against the cage and he has, Khamzat's on his back, it's a thing. Do I explode up and try to get up and use this energy? And maybe I get up, but, maybe there's only 30 seconds left and I already lost the round, right? So, it seemed like DDP kind of did that the whole fight. And then he kind of had, in the 5th round, he had some success or whatever, but I get it. It's a tough thing. It's an energy expenditure thing. There was a lot of situations there where Dricus could have exploded up and tried to scramble out, but he probably felt like he didn't have the wrestling to end up winning on the scrambles. So he just decided to save his energy. And it's one of those things. It's not like DDP got his ass. He got dominated. It's not like he got his ass whooped. So I didn't think it was boring, but my perspective is different than the casual fan. You know what I mean? I get the bloodthirsty rednecks watching the fights. That's not what they want to see. So I understand that.